All right. Hello, hello. Let me get this. All right. Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. So today we're just going to be paint pouring with just a variety of techniques. I'm going to do some swipes, some flip cups, some dirty pours, whole bunch of different paint pour techniques. But while we pour, while I paint, I'm going to be talking about some of the um, kind of frequently asked questions or troubleshooting some of your questions. So today is the day. If you have any questions about paint pouring, go ahead and ask in the chat. And then if you're watching this on a replay, you can always ask in the comments and I'll answer your questions even if it's on a replay. So here I'm going to first do, this is an 8x10 canvas, and I am going to do a swipe. So, all right. Hello, Janice. Welcome. How are you doing? How have you been? Took off last week. Didn't do a video last week. A live stream. Did plenty of videos, but not a live stream. And that's because we went hiking. So that was awesome. That was so nice to get out and about. It's so pretty here in the Northwest. So here I'm just putting down some pinks and some greens, some real nice fun colors here. And then I'm going to swipe. And I'm also going to put down a little bit of blue. I'm trying to decide which blue. So, how have you been? We have been real well. We've been enjoying the starting to get nice spring, nicer weather here. We've been enjoying that. And so, yes, it was so nice out the day we were able to go hiking. I've got to work my way up to hiking, though. We parked at a spot where it was quite the hill, and whoa, that was quite the walk. So this one does have silicone. This is a one of the pure pigments, the Folk Art Pure Pigment Payne's Gray, and then I also put a pearl white in it, so it lightened it up, and it also kind of give it a shimmer. Now this does have some silicone, so I'm laying this down, and that'll give me some nice cell action. But yeah, it's been a while. We didn't do too much outdoor stuff or hiking this last summer, with everything going on. So yeah, I'm out of shape. I got to work my way back up to being able to hike around. So, but it was beautiful. We have some beautiful waterfalls, and we hiked down to the waterfalls, the little lookout area. So now I'm just taking my palette knife and I'm just going to swipe through here. But let me know if you have any questions at all. But I want to talk about different things like why your paints may, your pours may, sometimes we will have issues with them cracking. Sorry, my voice almost cracked when I said cracking. That was kind of a funny timing. But we will have, and I don't often have too much problems with cracking, but cracking can be caused by a few different things. Cracking can be caused by you having the wrong consistency, your paint being too thick, having too much paint on the canvas. It can be also your environment, if it's real humid and such. But paint pours should take a while to dry. I mean, my paint pours take probably a day or two before they're not, you can, they don't have like a puddle. You could still manipulate. So I am just guiding the palette knife across here just real carefully. And so this one, I was hoping maybe would be a background, but it might be a little busy for a background. We'll see. But so yeah, Mike says he was huffing and puffing after that hike. Yeah, we all were. It was the big hill getting back to the car. That hill when you get out of the car and you head down to the waterfalls, it's all, you're not thinking about that walk back up. When it's time to come back up, that was what was like, woo, this is a long hike. So I am going to put a little bit more at the edges here. But yeah, so a lot of people, that was one of their main questions. People want to know, how to stop cracking. I'll make sure you have the same consistency in all your paint. That helps huge. And having the right consistency and the same consistency, not too thick. That's a lot of times why it'll crack. And then also, I use a lot of apple barrel paints. Apple barrel is a very cheap paint from the Walmart carries it. And I use a lot of it. It's kind of controversial. A lot of people do not use apple barrel paints because they've had issues with them cracking. Now, I have only had issues with the regular white cracking. Now they have a gloss white, which I did not have issues with the gloss white cracking. I use the gloss white quite a bit. So, and then all the other colors they have, I have no problem. I use them quite a bit, actually. I believe one of these pinks is a apple barrel paint. Yes, that is the video that I posted of our little hike was, that is the Lewis River. That's the river kind of near us. That's once it kind of narrows down to a smaller portion. But it's some waterfalls and beautiful, beautiful area. There's several waterfalls right there within a nice little short hike of each other. So, all right, the only color that had silicone was that metallic I put on. Metallic gives cells so well. It's a beautiful, beautiful area that we went hiking at. It's real close to where we live, so we're going to be hiking quite a bit there. It's, sorry, just a second, I got to get a drink. All right. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was going to cough or if I was going to sneeze there for a second. So, all right, this is an 8 by 10 inch, and I just swiped real gently. So you're not going to all the way down. You are just gliding that surface. A real just kind of lightweight palette knife is what I like to use for this technique. And it's just a swipe. I like to call them a whimsy swipe, but as you just whimsically putting the paint down and then swiping through, and you have quite the cell explosion with this. But and then a lot of times people complain. One of the questions is, it'll flow off. I mean, that's a real quick answer. Just make sure you level everything. Level your table, level whatever you're going to put them on. I just put them in this is an old pan that I found at like a garage sale. And then these are just like a yogurt cup, a plastic yogurt cup that we've just washed out and reuse and turn upside down. And that's how we do that. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and set this one aside and grab another one, and I think we'll do a dirty pour. I'm going to do a dirty pour in blues. So frequently asked questions about paint pouring. How much paint do you need? See, a lot of people have these charts, and it says, okay, for this size canvas, you need such and such size paint, amount of paint. Well, see, the issue is, what technique are you going to do? Yes, you need a certain amount to cover, but certain techniques, you're not going to have a base that you're going to lay down. So it's not quite as easy of an answer as just, so I'm just reusing a cup, guys. This is a 8 by 8 inch canvas. And so here I've got, and this cup happens to be a 5 ounce cup. So an 8 by 8 inch canvas, I would say I'm going to use probably for a dirty pour. So each technique is different. And so those tables are a good reference for a general idea. What I'm talking about, those tables, a lot of Facebook groups and such have these tables for like how much paint is needed, and a lot of them differ, and we'll say a certain amount of ounces per a square inch and such, but it really matters on what's your consistency of your paint, what technique you're going to be doing. So many different things that makes it kind of differ. So yeah, that swipe only had the one last color that I kind of drizzled across the top. But when I swiped through, I intentionally made sure I swiped through that color each time. RD, all right, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. JW, welcome. How are you doing? Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. So we're going to do a dirty pour on this canvas with just a variety of turquoises and blues. And I'm going to get a little bit of white in there. And we're actually going to do 2 of these little 8 by 8 inch canvases. But so for this dirty pour 8 by 8 inch canvas, I will be using about 3 ounces. That's a sufficient amount for a dirty pour. You can use about 3 to 4 ounces for an 8 by 8 inch to about an 8 by 10 inch. For a flip cup, for a dirty pour. Now for a swipe, I would use a little less paint. There's not as much paint on the surface for me. Hanging out on the tube. All right, sounds good. So I have filled this one up to about 3 ounces. So I think I am going to put a little bit of this. It's just such a gorgeous color. It started out with Payne's Gray, then I added that pearl in, but I'm just going to put a little. Now I'm really, I was pouring that from up high. I was really lifting that up high because then the gravity makes it pull all the way through. And so when I'm squeezing the bottles or when I'm pouring, if I don't want it to mix real well, if the colors don't like play well together, if they're the opposites on the color well, I'll just gently pour in, or I'll gently squeeze the bottle. If I'm wanting it to, like that was the color with silicone, so I wanted it to really go in, I lift it up real high and really pour it in, or I squeeze real tightly. So yeah, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. So we're just going to do a dirty pour. I'm not going to go in any. I'm just going to kind of all around. So for this one, so silicone, I like less is more. I do not put silicone in all my colors. So for this one, the silicone was in that Payne's Gray metallic. And then the silicone was also in, this is an ultramarine blue. And then this was an ocean green, a Master's Touch ocean green. So there was actually 3 colors that had silicone for this one. So now I'm going to just kind of take my finger at an L and bring it to the edge. And then I just pull my hand down it, kind of letting the paint, and then I pull it kind of a little bit more to the center, off to the next side. Making sure that I get it down the sides. And then you also, when you're figuring out, how much paint you're going to be needing for each pour, you also want to factor in the sides. So this is one of the like super value from Joann's sets of canvases. So it's only like, I think they're a little over 1/2 inch thick or something like that. But they're not like the super thick canvases. Just a second, let me wipe my hands off. Hey, Mr. Doughboy, how are you doing? How have you been? I'm going to kind of tilt this a little bit back that way just because I like the orientation of it. A little bit back that way. So, okay, that was an 8 by 8 inch canvas, and we used about 3.5 ounces of paint. We could have gone with 2.5, 3 ounces of paint. It was quite a bit, but it really depends on how thin your paint is, what consistency your paint is. There's a lot of factors in how much paint. So we're going to do another one, similar colors. You like the gray and blue? Yeah, it's a Payne's gray that I also added some pearl color into. So it made it a real fun, like metallic gray. So that was really nice. So it really, I love how it spread through there. And metallics are always going to sell up the very most. So if you are going to choose only a couple of colors to add silicone to, and I use treadmill oil, and I only add like 1 or 2 drops per a color, not very much. But the metallic colors are always the best to go with. They are going to sell up your easiest because you can even get sales without silicone with metallic colors. So we're going to do another one like this. We're going to go a little bit lighter in color, a little bit more white. And so we're going to do another one by an 8 by 8 inch canvas. But I wait about 3 weeks before they are fully cured, fully dry, can be like sold, the paintings can be hung on the wall and be done. So, all right, we got another 8 by 8 inch canvas. We're just using the same cup. I reuse my cups over and over and over again. And then you can always just, once it gets, the cup, you can peel out and just keep using it. So we put quite a bit of that lighter color in because we're going to go a little bit lighter on this one. This is blue cotton. This is an apple barrel color. We're going to get some, this is another apple barrel, Key West. So we're going to go more the teal turquoise lighter colors on this one. Yeah, it's a treadmill oil from, here, I'll show you. I get it on Amazon, but it's actual treadmill belt lubricant, but any 100% silicone. I use a few different silicones. You can use even personal lubricant. You can use, this has dimethicone. So you're looking for silicone or dimethicone. So this this is a hair treatment. It has dimethicone. And you don't have to. You can get cells also just by having the correct density of your paint, mixing it properly and everything. But yeah, you can use WD-40. There's just all kinds of different stuff. So we almost have enough paint in there. We're going to get a little bit of white. And then we might as well go with this Payne's gray, this metallic Payne's gray here. All right, we got more than enough paint now. We're closer to probably 3.5 ounces there. But we're just going to do the same. Just going to kind of toss it around. And notice I didn't even torch that last one. This one I may have to swipe through a bit, torch a little bit. We only had not too much silicone in this one. But I mean, and that's not always, cells are not always what you're going for. Cells are always those little round things that pop up. But some people, some pours techniques, you don't want the cells at all. So this one will be a fun one to kind of swipe through a bit. All right, let me wipe my hands clean. Get slippery. So, yeah, so you're like, is that just a word? Sometimes it's hard to, I remember all this lingo for paint pouring, and I just spit out all these techniques and what, say cells and treadmill oil, and it's hard. Then I remember not everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, yeah, it's just regular old treadmill oil. So, all right, I think I'm going to go ahead and just lightly go through right here with a little bit of a swipe. So we're going to use this color here. Just a little bit, not too much. And that's what we're going to do, is we're just going to kind of swipe through right there. Yeah, on Etsy. I am going to be starting my own website pretty soon, but not yet. Still working on that. But I have been on Etsy now. I've been on Etsy actually technically a couple of times. But this time I've been on Etsy. I'm almost at 500 sales. So that is super exciting. So, all right, we just kind of swiped a little bit of kind of through the middle there, just lightly there across the surface, but we're still, I mean, I haven't even torched it, and we're still seeing more and more through here and over here pop up. So it's so nice to see the difference of, we use pretty much the same colors, a little bit more of the lighter colors. Let me grab the other one, and we're going to bring them both side by side. Isn't that crazy how, like, very similar colors, same technique, but just by layering them in the cup a little bit differently, making a little bit heavier on the lighter colors, a little bit heavier on the darker colors, and it's such a difference. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Yep, that's my Etsy. I'm trying to switch over my Etsy to mainly all focusing on beach stuff. I do a lot of paint pours that are very beach related. That's why we're kind of going with the blue technique, right? Blue colors right now, because I have so much blue all mixed up from last night, because I poured a whole bunch of new jewelry boxes and tissue boxes and a bunch of new stuff. So now we're going to do a flip cup. So I think I'm going to do a flip cup. I'm trying to see here. I think we're just going to do it right there in that color. So that's a huge cup. We're only going to fill it up. This is Tillamook yogurt. It's a 6 ounce. We're only going to fill it up a little less than maybe half, about 3 ounces, a little less than 3 ounces. This is a 6 by 6 inch, but it's a gallery wrapped. So these are about 1.5 inches thick. So you need to count for the sides. When you have a very thick side, always make sure you're counting for the sides. So we're going to do some more blues, throw a little bit of other, maybe some pink in there, and we'll do a flip cup. So this is Master's Touch Persian Pink. And there it is. Oh, I hear Mike's 3D printer just finished. I just heard it. He's printing more split cups. That's what I should do, is do a split cup. Oh, I saw a chunk. That is no good. You want to make sure, always to make sure that you don't have big old chunks in there. But I saw one. But we'll try to get it out when I flip the cup. I'll try to see if I can find it. But some pinks, some blues, some turquoise, some ocean green. And we're really liking this Payne's Gray today. Just a whole variety of blues. It's got phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue hue, many different variety of blues here. All right, we're going to do a flip cup. So all we're going to do is just simply that. So I'm going to let it just for a second. See, yes, there was a paint booger. Oh, that's one of your next major purchases. All right. So what are you looking to print on your 3D printer? We have been printing, I have one right here. These cups for paint pouring. That's what we've been printing. Mike has a Etsy shop as well. He's been printing on it for a few months now, selling on his Etsy shop, the pours, the cups. All right. Cell explosion. Now I just flipped it. What this one might have been good is to flip and then kind of string some through. But I'm trying to place where that booger is. Plenty of paint. It's streaming down the sides. Okay, I got to get level down eye level so I can see if I've... No, I can see it. I can see where it is. And oh, I don't want to knock it off. Oh, to mold as mold for pouring metals. Oh, that's awesome. It's over the little paint booger is right. Okay, I've poured it off the side, guys. So there is a flip cup. Just making sure those corners, the darn corners, never want to cover on these big, huge, thick canvases. They're so nice. They're my favorite, but the sides never want to cover. I haven't really used a torch at all today. Yes, Janice bought some of Mike's split cups. Thank you so much. You've been using those? That's awesome. Yes, I need to do a couple more videos with split cups because I want to add a couple videos to the Etsy listings because I've heard that helps to add videos. Gave it a little torch. It didn't really need it. It was really doing its own thing. But that pink is starting to kind of work its way up through, pop up through. So that's really pretty. Some of that pink. Yeah, well, it wasn't our original idea for sure. We've seen other people were making the cups, and then they're on Thingiverse or one of the free sites. If you go and look at free files for printing, they're one of like the top things and stuff. So yeah, it definitely wasn't our idea, but we have messed around with the spout a little bit and the sizing and kind of made them just a little bit more our own, but it definitely wasn't our original idea totally. So, all right. So I wish you guys could see the shimmer, the that Payne's Gray is showing. It's beautiful popping up through that. The pink and the Payne's Gray are kind of playing together. So, all right. Does anybody else have any like color suggestions? Anything particular you would like to see? Because I've got two more 6 by 6 inches, and then I do have a 8 by 10 inch. Did you print yourself, or did you get a YouTube play button? Are you going to print one of those? Yeah, Thingiverse is pretty awesome. That's where you get a lot of the print files to print with a 3D printer. So I am going to go ahead. So anybody can suggest a color, but I am going to go ahead and do one of my beach pours. So these are, I guess, a finger swipe, or I don't know what you might want to call, but I just lay down blues and then I swipe my finger through them to create kind of an abstract ocean beach. So I'm just laying down some blues. That last blue, it is a cobalt blue. It did have some silicone. So I believe that'll be my only one with silicone today. Kind kind of going with the darker blues towards the top, coming down to a little bit lighter blues is kind of how I do it. So I just put a whole bunch down. It's kind of hard to do with a glove, but you just kind of gently just swipe. Bringing it down the sides. All right, now I'm going to add in a beach. Kind of a gray kind of beach for this one. But I just love doing the beach pours. It's kind of what I've kind of shifted my Etsy shop completely to more beach pours and that sort of stuff. The beach is just so amazing. I cannot wait to go back. It's been a while. My grandmother used to live at the beach. Her and I were super, super close. So I used to go to the beach quite often. It's just so healing and so just amazing to just sit there. It's so good for the soul. So, all right. Did you see those just pop up? I didn't even have to do much anything, just swipe through a little bit. It's just placing those just perfectly with just one or two with silicone and making sure that I just barely go across the top. It's kind of feathering across the top. Oh, Mike was, he had to replace, I'm not sure. So sometimes I add in a little bit of beach, sorry, slow down. My little tongue tied there. Like ocean foam, a little bit of the waves crashing with white. I may just leave that. Make sure it's nice and level. Let's do another one. I'll do two. I'll do this one with no foam, and then we'll do this one with foam. Let's do that. Yeah, like Mike likes to go to the beach and fish, but the place where we like to go, he used to get up on these cliffs and fish. That was just nerve-wracking. He broke his ankle up there one time. But one time we're at the beach and Mike was fishing like earlier in the day, or I think he was getting ready to go back out after lunch or something, but he wasn't out fishing at that time. But all of a sudden we see like this activity up on this cliffside. It's like down below where the lighthouse is. And it's, I mean, literally like at high tide, you can't get to it so much, but at low tide, there's some areas where you can kind of scale the side of the thing and get up there. But we were watching and all of a sudden we saw like this, it looked like a little boy hanging off the side of the cliff. And it was a super windy day. And it looked like his like coat was like flapping in the wind and stuff. And Mike, he, such a nice guy Mike is, he goes taking off. He's, other campers there is right near. Oh, he already told, I'm telling the story and you've already told them that they're dummies. But anyways, it ended up being that a couple of campsites, Mike and a couple other people tried to get up there and rescue what they thought were these children on the side of the cliff, but it was a Coast Guard training. And then the Coast Guard helicopter ended up like swooping in, and the Coast Guard helicopter, they had a whole training. And it was really cool to watch them do their like training and rescue, but it was dummies that they had placed on the side of the cliff. It was not actually children up there, but Mike, he was heading up, he was going to rescue them. I mean, he wasn't alone. It was other There was other people there camping. It was like the whole beach was alerted suddenly, and the whole beach was like in rescue mission. There was ladies running back to call 911. It was a big old ordeal. And then it ended up being these, it was a training thing. So it was these dummies. But that was quite excitement. It was crazy, yes. Mike went to rescue the Coast Guard dummies. So, all right. Notice how I didn't put any sea foam, and I kind of could see it happening. Some nice little sail action where the beach and the ocean were meeting up, and it kind of looked nice on its own. So I didn't want to mess that up. So this one we'll try to put some beach foam in there. And sometimes I just put the white here right out the ocean line. Sometimes I put some in the kind of back here at the waves. It just kind of depends on what the look I'm going for with that one and kind of how big the piece is. Some bigger ones, I'll add more waves in. Yes, it was awesome. And then once things calmed down and we realized it was the Coast Guard doing their thing and everything, I do have video somewhere of the helicopter, the Coast Guard helicopter, coming down, rappelling down and grabbing up the dummy and then going back up with it. And so it was cool to see them do their whole training, but it was quite excitement for us for a few because we thought, oh my God, some children were falling down into the ocean. So my white is a little bit clogged. I'm just taking a skewer. So today's subject on this live stream is actually supposed to be tips and like troubleshooting, frequently asked questions. So anybody have any other questions about paint pouring? I haven't really answered many frequently asked questions on here today. Oh, well. Yeah, see, like that's what we later talked about. JW brings up when they do their training, because JW, you're in the military. If you don't mind me asking, what branch of military are you in? What branch of the service are you in? My dad was Navy, and actually, I almost became Navy, and then I met Mike that like next week, and so I did not leave. But so you say that they put big signs saying military exercise. And that's what we talked about later on is why wasn't there some sort of signage or like the campground there's like bulletin boards near the bathrooms and such. There was no sort of signage, no sort of warning. And it panicked quite a few people. So Army, awesome, awesome. Thank you for your service. That's awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I do such a good job and my teaching covers so much already. Oh, thank you. Especially if there's any type of gunfire. Oh, yes, I bet. People definitely would go nuts. I can see that. So this is my aquarium tubing. And I use this to blow whenever I'm doing any that need any, like when people would normally use maybe a straw. I use this because like for this instance, when you're doing the beach foam, you can direct it and it's bendable and you can reuse it and direct it in any way you want. So it works really well, especially for something like this where you want to move it back and forth. So I'm going to try to do this where you guys can see, but so now I let it just kind of do its thing and sink. It'll kind of sink a little bit, and then sometimes I'll have to come back through and do one more layer of kind of white down. But it kind of creates almost like a beach foam. You always got to make sure. These aluminum pans, after a while, I've used these same aluminum pans for, I don't know, probably 2 years. They're starting to get kind of bent and out of shape. I think I might have to replace them because they're hard to get everything level now that they're not quite nice and flat anymore. So, but yeah. Yeah, I bet people would go nuts, especially if there's any type of gunfire. So that's how I do my beach pours. That's doing a swipe. You can do them with a flip cup. You can do them with a dirty pour. You can do them so many different ways. But that's just kind of how I do my kind of more basic of my beach pours. So I am going to do now one last painting. So I only have an 8x10 left. So I'm going to push these over out of the way. But yeah, I actually took my ASVABs and was going to be joining the Navy. I was thinking of becoming a nurse at one time. And so and then like that very next week, I met Mike. And so I actually did not join the Navy. So, but I bet my parents were probably happy about that. Well, my dad was excited, but yeah, that was when I was 18 or 21. So this is Cameo Pink. This is a Apple Barrels Cameo Pink. So then after I met Mike and decided I was not going to join the Navy, I still maybe was going to become a nurse. So I took a couple of like terminology and anatomy and physiology, because I was a certified nurse's assistant and worked in a nursing home for quite a long time, actually. So I thought, well, maybe I'll become an RN. But as soon as I got to some of the later anatomy and physiology and the cadavers and stuff, I was done. No way. I changed my mind. So this one, I'm going to do a kind of a swipe, but I'm doing a base of this Cameo Pink. It's a real nice kind of light pink, but it does kind of almost have a peachy kind of undertone to it, which is real pretty. Oh, the beach ones are my signature creations. Oh, yeah, Mike says that, look, make sure they're level or high tide. Last night I did a couple of them, and high tide must have come in. I did one on a real long box. It's going to be a wood box, and I just do the top, and then Mike comes in and stains the bottom. And it, the tide definitely came in on that one. The whole one side of the beach is gone. So I am just putting down some, I was going to do a swipe, but I think I'm going to do a blown with this one. I think these colors would look nice blown out. So it was his. Yep, that's how I met him. That is what he was wearing. So that was that Payne's Gray. And then that's blue cotton. And then Craft Smart, it was a little bit of Craft Smart plum. And then we're just going to put a tiny bit of this ultramarine. Then I'm going to come in with the aquarium tubing. So I believe that Craft Smart Plum and that Payne's Gray are our ones with silicone. So this is my last pour for today, though. How many do we do? 1, 2, 3. So that's pretty good. 6 pours. That's not too bad. So let me know if you have any questions. Yes, you had shorts and a shirt on too. I didn't think I need to add that in. So, all right, we're just going to come in and I'm just going to pour, blow back and forth. Sometimes about midway, I got to take a few breaths, take a moment. But then we get back to it. Sometimes you got to just take a minute and catch your breath. So I like to use the aquarium tubing because I like that control, and I can bend it back and forth, do a little bit on this side, go back a little bit on this side. But so what I'm doing is I'm at about a 45-degree angle, and I'm blowing just real through, like kind of feathering lightly, and I'm just psh, psh, across the surface. And then I go back this way a little bit, back that way a little bit. And you will create a little bit of bubbles. I do see a couple bubbles. And I just use a Chef's Torch Creme Brulee. So, all right, look at that. I love that ultramarine blue. Really pops there on that, with that plum, ultramarine blue, Payne's gray, and blue cotton on cameo pink. So, what do you guys think of that one? So next week, I haven't even decided. I haven't thought about what I should do for a subject for next week's paint pour. I actually think I might just talk about colors, like color combinations, color theory, what colors play well together. And even if colors like, say, orange and purple, you can still do paint pours with orange and purple. I maybe wouldn't do a flip cup, or I would layer it differently to make the pour, not turn muddy. So I was thinking about next week just talking about color theory and kind of how you can still do pours with colors that are kind of contrasting colors, do them certain techniques, do it, a little bit better, and like a dirty pour maybe a bit better for contrasting colors than a flip cup, or little tips and tricks like that with colors. So next week I was just thinking about just talking about colors. Dip Mike in purple. I did see a thing. It was somebody else's video. It was like a Dollar Tree DIY video, and they had a humongous solo cup. I mean, like a humongous cup. And I thought, ooh, if I do any sort of pour involving Mike, that would be a big old, that cup might come in handy. Thanks for hanging out, Mr. Doughboy. You're always, you never know if you're still here, and then you always, come in with a little quick something about painting Mike. So that's always fun. So I'm really liking how this one is playing well together. I love the just blowing it kind of in the middle like that. It really, and then you still have kind of negative space. And you can always, your base does not have to be, you see a lot of paint pours with the base being white or the base being black or what have you. You can do any color for your base. And I mix all my colors are all mixed the same consistency. They're all mixed up with American Floetrol. And I do have a lot of different, I have about 3 or 4 videos on mixing the paint and my paint recipe and consistency and all that. Yeah, use a kiddie pool. I actually was shopping for some, they have now these kiddie pools that they're kind of, they like collapse and fold down. They kind of have like harder sides kind of, but then they fold into smaller. I was thinking about getting something like that for doing spun pours, spinning them out, so I don't make quite so much of a mess, but then I can also fold it up and put it away. So I might soon get something like that. Or I was thinking about making something with foam core and shower curtains or something. I don't know. I always try to go the cheaper route and try to just make something. Was having dinner. What you having for dinner tonight, Mr. Doughboy? You're on the East Coast, so dinner, it's already dinner time. We are going to kind of splurge. I'm going to make homemade chicken strips, and we're going to have chicken and waffles. So that should be good. That we've actually, I think this will only be maybe our second or third time having chicken and waffles. But that was the request in the house, so that's what we'll be making tonight. Ribs. Awesome. Sounds good. We actually just got a big wire brush and everything. Mike's going to go out here in a little bit. Our grill hasn't even been cleaned up and ready for the season. We didn't, sometimes in the winter, we actually use it a couple times. But this winter, we didn't use it at all. So that's one thing that Mike's going to be doing is cleaning up our grill and getting it all ready to go, because this next weekend and like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is going to be in the 90s. So here in the Northwest, when it gets in the 90s, we melt. We melt. So we'll be grilling outside. We won't be cooking inside next week. 94 there today. Ooh, that's pretty warm for you guys, isn't that? Especially being still May. That seems a little bit warm, so I can see, yeah. It's a great day for ribs when it's a nice warm day like that. Yes, Janice, colors. I think that'll be a good one. And I actually thought about that earlier. I hadn't even had that planned out. And then I'm like, that's what I'll do. I'll just do colors next week on the live stream. We'll just talk about different colors, different techniques to kind of what colors go well with what color, you know, the whole color theory and the color wheel and stuff. What colors play well together and what colors don't, and how you can kind of combat that if the colors don't play well together. You can still pour with them. You just kind of got to do a little bit of different things. Still snow on the ski slopes, and it's 94 degrees. Wow. Yeah, a little heat wave for you guys. So, all right, guys, that was the last one for today. And I think I'm going to get off out of here because actually this lighting, it warms it up here in my little studio having the lighting on. So it's like, whoo, this lighting. I can't wait till this summer to have the lighting on. It'll be hot. So, but then it'll be nice and bright out, and I'll just open the window and maybe not have to have the lighting on. So that'll be okay. So yeah, next week we'll be back live next week, Wednesday at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And we'll talk about colors, color theory, and all kinds of little things to do with colors and paint pouring tips and tricks on colors. So if you guys have any frequently asked questions on paint pouring today, I did not answer too many paint pouring questions. I just kind of poured and we chatted. So it was a great live stream, but I didn't really stay on topic, but that's my own fault. And so if you do come up with any questions on paint pouring, you could always ask in the comments and I'll answer later on. So, but it was awesome to chat with you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Mount Washington is still heavily snow-capped. Mount St. Helens has still quite a bit of snow on it, but you can start to see where it's just starting to kind of melt a little bit towards the bottom. Mount St. Helens still has quite a bit of snow on it, and Mount Hood still has quite a bit of snow on it. Nowhere near the snowpack that they normally get. They got a very low snowpack this year, but they do still have some snow on them, but that's kind of where I live, kind of near Mount Hood and Mount St. Helens. Thank you so much, Janice, and you as well. I hope you have a nice week as well. You have a great week, and you guys have an awesome weekend. And thank you so much, all of you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. And you guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. And always remember, be the change you want to see in the world, guys. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one.